everyone, I'm Samantha Daniels. Welcome to Love Samantha Daniels Style. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to be talking about dating, sex, love, romance, and relationships. So if you have any questions that you want to ask me or comments that you want to make, all you need to do is raise your hand and I will call on you and you can say anything you want. I see a hand up right now, Jazz Blues Man, so I'm going to let you ask your question and then I'm going to go to the topic that I want to discuss today, which is chemistry and how you know whether or not things are moving too fast and how not to get afraid when things move fast. So, Jazz Blues Man, would you like to ask a question? Okay, I have a feeling that Jazz Blues Man has his hand up, but he doesn't want to ask a question. So if you change your mind, you let us know. And in the meantime, that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you know when things are moving too quickly, and how do you make that not scare you off? And how do you know if you met somebody who's right for you or who's not right for you? I think that a lot of us think about that all the time because you go out on a lot of dates and you meet people, but the truth of the matter is that connection is rare, and whatever's happening in your life when you meet somebody and you connect with somebody in a special way, you start thinking to yourself that this could be something really special. Just to interrupt, we do speak English in my room here, not any other language, so if you want to speak another language, maybe go into another room because we like everybody to be able to participate in the room for the next half an hour. Getting back to what I was talking about, so how do you figure out if a connection that you've made, makes sense? Is it just sexual? Does it mean something? Do you have a mental connection? Do you have a physical connection? Do you have a sexual connection? Do you have an intellectual connection? These are some of the things that you think about when you meet somebody, and where does that come from? I spent a lot of time asking people their definition of chemistry. What do they think? What do you think is the definition of chemistry? What do you think is the intangible that makes two people fall for each other as opposed to two other people? What is it that draws you to somebody? You know, it used to be when we were younger that it all had to do with looks. When we were in high school, it was always about dating the hottest football player or dating the sexiest cheerleader. But as you get older, you start realizing that chemistry comes from a lot of things, comes from a lot of deeper things, connecting things that make you think that maybe you can go the distance with somebody. Maybe you can actually get into a deeply connected and committed relationship with someone who just draws you in that way. I hear lots of stories about people who meet other people, and even though objectively speaking, the other person is gorgeous, the other person is very, very handsome or attractive, they just don't feel that interest in kissing that person. And for women, a lot of times, it's all about the kiss. It's all about looking at a person and looking at their lips and thinking to themselves that they want to kiss that person. And sometimes it comes from physical, just looking at them and thinking that they're really handsome or they're really pretty. But most of the time it really comes from other things, just feeling that connection, feeling like you just want to reach across the table and kiss that person. So I hear a lot of interesting encounters. I heard a story recently about a woman who ran into a man who she knew in a restaurant, and they got into a funny conversation about kissing, and he reached across the bar and he kissed her, and there was that chemistry. It was just there more than anything else, and it just felt like it needed to happen. And I think that kissing is really prelude to sex. I think that if you have a good kiss, then that says that you're going to have a good sexual encounter with a person. So I guess the question that I have for you is, where do you think that chemistry comes from? And how do you know if the chemistry that you feel with somebody is going to sustain the test of time, or if it's going to just be something that draws you in for the moment and then you lose it after a time? And can chemistry be too overwhelming? Can you connect with somebody on so many different levels that you start thinking to yourself that it's too scary, that it's too real, that what is going to happen with this person you might not be ready for? You know, as you all know, or most of you know, I'm a matchmaker. So I sit every single day and people talk to me about what's going on in their social life, what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong in their dating, and I coach them and talk to them about that. And I also set them up with quite a lot of people. And they come and they sit with me and they pay me a lot of money to work directly with me. And then I find them somebody and they connect with that person, and all of a sudden it's way too overwhelming for them. They wanted it so badly, but then all of a sudden when it's in your reach, when that real person is in your reach, within your reach, where that you can start going in that direction towards a future to connect, sometimes that gets really scary because it's easy to say that you want it, but then all of a sudden when you have it, all of a sudden when you know that you have it and that you're thinking about having it for the rest of your life, that can be really, really